Happy Friday, NORRP Nation. Hope everybody's doing well. Whitney Wiseman coming to you from my office down here in beautiful sunny Palm Beach. I want to talk to you guys about something that we've been discussing a lot in the industry for the past year. A lot behind closed doors, but it's been a big topic within the group and outside of the group. It's very much well known. And unfortunately, nothing is happening about this at a pace that I think will affect us in the way that it needs to. So, when things don't happen the way you want it to, you got to get up and do something yourself. Want to talk about the vast differential in payment within the construction industry and how our professionals, restorers, technicians, entry-level individuals are greatly underpaid. This is a topic that a lot of different groups are putting attention on currently. And I think that it's definitely worthy of the attention for sure. But I don't think that the methods that are being used in order to get us paid more fairly are taking effect. And I don't think that the ideas that people have on how to fix things are really going to affect us in a matter that it really matters, or really affects us, or really takes place and puts change into effect, if you will. I use Xactware. We also use QuickBooks. A lot of jobs are switching over now. You all probably know me as a big time and materials guy. Still all about the time and materials game, but I'm also heavily in learning more about Xactware, which is important. And I think the important thing to kind of note about whether you're doing time and materials or whether you are doing an Xactware bid bill, line item type bill, is that your prices that you're charging should reflect your business's operation. And it should not reflect industry averages. It should not reflect anything other than your cost of doing business, which granted industry averages will play into effect when it comes to the pricing in your area. Obviously, you can't charge 100% more than 90% of the customer contractors in your area. But if you're out there charging similar rates, if you're out there charging the amount of money that essentially gets you paid to cover your cost of doing business, covers your overhead, covers your payroll services, your workers' compensation, general liabilities, your auto insurance, your all the different overheads that essentially are affected and could play into the calculations of what an employee costs you on a daily basis. Unfortunately, by us submitting your Xactware, the change is not going to be made fast enough. Yes, it's a great program. Yes, it's got tons of line items, but unfortunately, with so much else in this world, change takes too long. So what I've been doing for the last year, and I tested this out so I'm ready to tell everybody that they can try it on their own right, is essentially create your own labor pricing. Don't adjust anything other than your labor. Right now we're focusing on labor. So let's make it 2020. We're going to focus on making sure your labor prices are where they need to be. We're not going to talk about equipment prices. We're not going to talk about consumable prices. We're not going to talk about rental rates. We're not going to talk about anything like that. We're going to talk about labor rates. Supervision labor rates that they need to be charged and the reasons in which supervisors are needed on job sites. Project managers, the importance of project managers. The importance of health and safety officers on job sites, making sure that you can charge and pay an individual for the training that they have received in order to hold the designation of a health and safety officer or a project manager or a superintendent or a supervisor, whatever it is. Every single classification within your company has experiences that are required to go with it. I'm hoping that nobody hires somebody off the street with no experience and calls them a technician. I'm sure it happens, but is what it is. And that's where we have to better ourselves in the industry and make sure that if we're calling somebody a technician, that they are trained, whether it be through your company or through some certification program. That if they're a supervisor, that they have gone through the process of learning how and what is needed in order to be a supervisor, superintendent, so on and so forth, project manager. These are the things that you have to do in order to make sure that your company has a standard operating procedures and has basic core values and obligations for those employees. And these are all basics that we know in business, and this is very important to do. But that's not the point I'm bringing up here. What I'm bringing up here is in order for you to keep these people happy, in order for you to keep these people employed for the long term, and in order for you to make sure that all of your employees are able to move forward within the industry, get the training that they need, and that you are able to afford to send them to the trainings and not have to put them on their backs, is important. And the only way that we as professionals, and being a contractor who's out there in the field doing this daily, just like so many other people that are going to watch this video, the importance is making sure that you bill for your people's time. If you are not making money for your people's time, and you're not making the right money on it to cover your costs of doing business and to cover the training costs that are essential, you're never going to have employees that want to stick with you for the long term. This is something that has changed, just like insurance companies have started selling cheaper and cheaper policies to be who's the cheapest. Well, employment is, how can I get the cheapest and cheapest employee to do the job, and it's bare minimum. Well, we need to change our mentality. How can we find the right employees who want to learn to do things right? How can we afford to train them? How can we afford to make sure that they get the proper workers' compensation? How can we afford to make sure that they have everything that they need, the tools that they need, the vehicle that they need, all that other stuff? The buck stops at the fact that we need to be able to charge the proper hourly rates for our men and women in the field. I'm not going to sit here and say what those rates are to be, but what I am going to sit here and say is that if you are interested in beta testing with NORRP, the organization, for new pricing standards, which are not Xactware pricing, these are calculations that we're going to help you guys use in order to come up with the proper numbers in order to charge for your labor appropriately, so that there's growth and a career for those individuals that are taking these roles and responsibilities within your company. So, lot said there, but at the same time, it always comes down to a basic term. We need to charge more money. So what I'm going to do this is I'm going to challenge every single one of my 5,600 members that are in our group here. I'm going to challenge as many of you as are willing to do it, to reach out to us and let us know that you're interested and that you're going to, at least for one whole quarter, you're not going to waver. You're not going to care about your competition. You're not going to care about the low bidders out there. We want to make sure that we have individuals who will stand behind this and will do what we've been doing down here in South Florida for about a year now. Try it so that we can prove its worth. If we as a whole, if we as a group, if we as a united industry come together and start charging more for our time, similar to other trades within the construction industry, specialty trades within the construction industry, the owners will be able to hire better employees. Our good employees will be able to move up within our companies. And those employees who are looking to get into our industry will have far, far more of a reason to look into why it would be important to join in the career in the restoration industry. It's hard to hire somebody at $15 an hour and then send them to go get training and charge what in my area Xactware rates around $55 an hour. My plumbing company charges $140 an hour for our plumbers. Same company, same business, different licenses, different employee, but I charge $140. That's almost 3 times the amount that I'm able to charge for my restoration technician. My carpenters and people that are in my business that are working, the average rate, and Xactware gets us, I think it's $65 an hour. My billable for my carpenters to a non-Xactware job is far higher. So what I've done for the last year is I have literally changed the labor. And Ben Justinson talks about this, Parker's talked about this, and there's a lot of other people that have classes that talk about this. Is not my idea. It's pretty basic, actually. But what I'm hoping I can do and accomplish by making this video is get individuals that are willing to make the change. Not wait for your Xactware price code to change and then use it when it's there. But you go, you make the change, charge what it is you need to charge, and see that little line item turn green. I want to see how many people are willing to make those line items turn green. I'm not talking about anything other than labor. I'm not talking about your equipment, not talking about consumables, not talking about line item this or that. I'm talking about your labor burden. Make sure if you need to charge a 3-digit number for your technicians and your supervisors, then charge a 3-digit number for your supervisors and your technicians. I don't know the cost of doing business in your area, so I could not tell you But I will tell you that I'm about 95% sure that if you go look at WRT LAB in your Xactmate right now, it's going to be way low. And that is not Xactmate's fault. It's not. It's a program that uses vast amounts of data that they have to analyze, and they have to come up with ideas on what the right prices are going to be. Then they have board meetings and committees and subcommittees. I don't really know what it's all broken down into structure, but I can tell you it doesn't happen overnight. By the time our industry prices go up within these programs, it's too late. That price change is already too low. Every time the price changes, it's already too low. I would want to say how many people can raise their hand here today that are watching this. There's only 9 of you on here. But if you're watching it afterwards, I hope that you can make a comment below down here and basically say that you agree with what I'm saying. That you're not able to charge, that you're not happy what you're charging for your employees doing what you do. We're not going to tell you what price to charge. But like I said, we're going to come up with an algorithm and a calculation to help you guys figure out a safe and fair number that is within a reasonable price range for people with such training and expertise in our industry. And at the end of the day, we handle so many more hazardous materials than, say, an HVAC mechanic or a plumber or a roofer or anything else. When we're dealing with, a lot of people in our industry deal with lead. A lot of people deal with asbestos. A lot of people are dealing with hazmat situations, crime scene cleanup. All that stuff is far more hazardous. And yes, some of those areas you do get to charge more for your labor, but why is there such a vast difference for services when we're sending the same guy out there? If he has to be trained and you're paying him that much to do the hazmat services, then why can't we charge a similar rate or a more fair rate for that individual who has the training to do other jobs, but because of the fact that he's only doing a water damage job, we can only charge for him to basically be at under $40 an hour or some shit like that? Garbage. Absolutely garbage. And that's what we can't handle, and that's what we can't have in our industry. So hopefully you guys and girls in the industry are willing to get behind what we're trying to do here and step up, charge more for your services, and make more money. It's not necessarily more money for you to put in your pocket, but it's more money for you to put aside in your business bank account for training, education, for your employees, bonuses, and we want you to pay them more money. We want to see better people get into our industry because of the fact that it makes sense and they can make money, they can make a livelihood, have a good family, and live the American dream. But right now, we're struggling for the American dream because we're not making close to enough money to do what we do. So we struggle enough with the things that we got to do every day. We should not be struggling to get paid the right amount of money. So if y'all are behind this, let me hear your voice. We'll see you soon.